Okay, hello, beautiful spirits. This is something that I've decided to talk about. I don't like to do politics as much anymore on this channel, but I do feel like I want to talk about this because I know many of us are upset about what we see happening in our country right now, those of us who are Americans. The concern that many Americans have has to do with Trump's enemies list that he has created an enemies list. This is something that's come up in the past. Sir Richard Branson, when he met with Trump back in 2017, I think it was, Trump had talked about getting an enemies list, that he was going to go after everybody who had hurt him. His first priority once he had power was to go after those people he perceived of as enemies, which of course reminds us of Richard Nixon having an enemies list. As many of you know, Trump was found liable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. And it is very, very difficult to get a rape conviction in the United States. Odds of it going to trial and the perpetrator being convicted when they're guilty is about 5 to 10%. Now, shave that down to close to zero when the man who has committed the crime is, or woman, sometimes it happens that it's the perpetrator is a woman. If the person who has committed the crime is wealthy and has as much power as Donald Trump, the odds of a conviction in the court system is pretty much close to zero. So the argument that we hear a lot from Republicans is, well, he was not convicted in a federal court. He wasn't found guilty of sexual assault. He was found liable in a civil, which is easy. This constant apologetic need to defend this person. And this is the problem with fascism, right? Fascism is not just one person. It is the people that rise up to be flying monkeys to protect heinous actions. The fact that Trump was found liable is next to impossible. The evidence against him, the fact that the jury found him liable, is very damning considering the amount of power he has and considering what the odds are of powerful men being convicted for these crimes. And I think the bottom line is that the people that are defending Trump and propping up Trump don't care. They don't care if he harmed 25 different women. These are just the women that have come forward with allegations of sexual harassment, abuse, rape, etc. There have been something 25 to 28. I went through it. I actually went to artificial intelligence and I was looking at how many actual people had come forward accusing him of assault. And I think that the number of Trump accusers came up to be something like, and these are just the people that were brave enough to come forward. I mean, the odds that a victim is going to come forward is pretty much 28 women have publicly said that Trump either raped, groped, anything from groping to full-on rape. There is 28 confirmed, but numbers may be higher. So those are just so we have somebody here who when you have 28 accusers, and these are just the people brave enough to go forward. Never mind all the people that were too afraid to go forward. The fact that he wrote on the Lolita Express 8 times. I mean, give me a freaking break. the fact that he said he was grabbing him by the whatever. It's just, at this point, I think it's irrefutable that this is a serial sex offender. So meditating, trying to be a spiritual person and trying to make sure that the people that watch this channel are not falling apart. Many of you have survived violence yourselves. And of course, we always want to make sure that you're okay. That you, in the middle of all this, are not getting triggered, that you are okay. But if you feel you want to help, I think there are a number of things that we can do. Number one, if Jean Carroll, if she has a defense fund and you want to send a couple dollars to once we find out where the Jean Carroll defense fund is, I think just to let her know that we support her and that she has a defense system around her of people that are rising up and are going to support her, give a little money for her defense, make sure she's protected. I think that's something that we can all do. We can. That's one way to stand up to the bully, is that we stand around the person who's being harassed and do what we can to help them legally. So that's the first thing, is check in on yourself, make sure you're okay. And if you feel you need to do something, I think that's something that we can all do, is we can give $1 or $2, maybe more if you feel inclined, to Jean Carroll. The other thing we can do is we can engage in a letter writing campaign to every member of the Senate in very sane, rational terms. Let them know that we are very concerned about the use of our Justice Department and our tax dollars to buy the commander-in-chief to have an enemies list to go after everyone, and that being complicit does not bode well for them in 2028 or sooner, depending upon when they're out the door. And their legacy, it will taint their legacy in Congress. It will taint their legacy in the Senate. And so I think we can all write those letters and let our voices be heard. Protest and let our voices be heard. That we see Jean Carroll and we are going to do everything in our power to protect her, protect those that have become part of the enemies list, that we are going to take the time to write those senators and let them know that this is not an acceptable use of our Justice Department. And we see very clearly that this has gotten out of hand, and that this is no longer about Republicans and Democrats. We don't even have to frame it that way, because as soon as you frame it that way, people are going to start defending their party. This is not about Republican or Democrat. This is about the Constitution. This is about overstepping his powers as the executive branch. And it's about our desire to fight for the country that we care about. And I think that in very clear terms, and I think we need to move past politics and focus more on the fact that we are concerned about the direction that the country is headed. And this will not bode well for them if they don't do something about it. All right, let's take a look. All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. Call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decision for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Let's go in. Mila has fallen asleep. Her little kitty hairs sometimes get into my lungs when I sit over here. It's a very dusty part with a lot. This is where she sleeps, is on this bed. I often end up inhaling little kitty hairs when I sit here. It's kind of annoying. All right, let's take a look at E. Jean Carroll and Trump and how this is going to play itself out. I'll be completely honest with you about what I see. A little worried, to be honest with you. All right, so what we see right now is we see that instead of being frightened, I don't feel when I put myself in the shoes of E. Jean Carroll that I am frightened. In fact, quite the opposite. I am angry and I am emboldened. This is somebody who the worst has already happened. You know, from E. Jean Carroll's perspective, the worst has already happened. What he did to her destroyed her. She was never able to be intimate with a man ever again. This was the single most devastating thing that had ever happened to her, was the genital assault that took place on that day. And she will never be whole in the way that she was. She was permanently damaged by this assault of her genitalia, by this individual, this psychopath. So I don't feel fear when I go into E. Jean Carroll's energy. What I feel is the Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands is a very strong queen and she demands her territory. So what I feel instead when I go into E. Jean Carroll's energy is that she is very angry. She is very determined. She's not frightened in the least. And she is going to face him head on. She's going to face the Justice Department head on. Come get me. You know, I feel this kind of strength from her. The horrible has already happened. You've already crippled me permanently. You took my joy. I could have gotten married. I could have had children. You took that from me. You took my life from me already. That part of me is dead. A person's sexuality is something that's very intimate and it's a pretty important part of our lives. It's a joyful part of our lives. And he stole that from her forever. She was young. She was beautiful. He took all of that from her. So from her perspective, the horrible has already happened. And he already, it's like amputating somebody. He has already amputated her. So she presents now as very, very strong. She is not frightened and she is ready. She is extremely angry, burning with rage. The other thing about E. Jean Carroll is that her karma card is Archangel Michael. This is Archangel Michael. He is the angel that presents with the sword of truth. So she has the sword of truth. Great, come after me. I've been waiting for you. You know, like she is not afraid. She's got the truth. You really want to push this? I really think this is not a person who's frightened or coward. This situation is fast moving. We have the Chariot right over it. And the crossing card is the Two of Swords, and that can be justice denied or blind justice. So I hope the people in the Justice Department are thoroughly disgusted with themselves. I hope that you look in the mirror and you throw up on yourself. Look at yourself. Get a good look at yourself in the mirror. Don't you just want to puke all over yourself? You are that disgusting, ugly, repulsive person that is going after a woman who's been crippled for life by a serial rapist because you are just following orders. And at that point, that's fascism. That is when you prop up the fascist. What is above there is the fourth house is the air sign male Gemini. That is Trump. And what we are sitting in is a thief. So he was a thief. He is perceived of in the universe as he took something that didn't belong to him. When someone gives you their love, they share their sexuality with you. That is a gift. You don't manipulate it out of them to get her to give me some. You don't get her drunk, drug her, play mind games. NLP, right? Neurolinguistic programming. That wasn't a huge thing that took off in the 80s. How to manipulate her into doing something she doesn't want to do so you can get some, right? That's rape. Anytime you are manipulating or drugging or mind games or bullface lying, whatever it takes to get access to something that doesn't belong to you, at that point you've committed an act of theft. And depending upon the type of theft, when it comes to this type of theft, it can permanently damage somebody, and usually does. And he is perceived of as the thief. I got mine, I got it, and then he runs away. Who is the person, an air sign male, who presents as what he sits in, that this is a thief, and every aspect of his life is thievery. Stealing people's money, stealing people's children, stealing people's women, taking. This is a guy who has no conscience, who has gotten through life by robbing others. So from a spiritual perspective, when you go into this from a spiritual perspective, he is perceived of as a thief, as somebody who lives in the world as a robber. He is a robber baron they're coming out of that investigation, and they're entering into a place of foolery. He will go after anyone he feels threatens him. This is really the way that criminals operate. Don't think on me. Don't be a snitch, right? You got to be loyal to the man. You got to be like Michael Cohen. Oh, I love you so much, Donald, right? This kind of kiss the ring. This kind of blind loyalty, the fool, right? And this demand for loyalty, which is really kind of interesting. And where it's at right now, power. So there's a power struggle. That's kind of interesting. And an investigation. The investigation will yield nothing because there is nothing to yield. What are they going to? That she made false claims against him that harmed his reputation. Now that could be a civil suit. They could go through this investigation as just to make her miserable, to show evidence that she could have made defamatory statements that harmed him, and that is why he's using the Justice Department to go after him. And that appears to be so. Investigating every statement she made. You hurt his feelings when you said that. Well, on Tuesday you said that, nitpicking everything she has said in public in an attempt. There's the masters coming in, just picking through every statement. What did she say on Tuesday? Did she had a salad and then she ordered, going through everything, looking for any possible thing she said that could be that could make her liable. Hopes and fears, 8 of Swords, containment, or that she will be gagged. They are attempting to gag her. Okay, I have access to a record. Evidently, she could be writing a book or having a contract. Does anybody know about this? publishing something. And because she was going to publish or possibly include it in an autobiography, this is an attempt to gag her. He's attempting to gag her from the possible publishing of an expose. That appears to be what we're looking at here. And the final outcome is she rises, the high priestess. Remember also, we are in the time of Oshun, the goddess Oshun. She is the protector of women and children who have been abused. She is presented as the Queen of Wands. She is an ancient deity worshipped out of Nigeria for the last, I think, 8,000 years. Her reign she began to reign during the time of the Renaissance, just as Ogun's reign left. Ogun reigned for several centuries. He was the Iron Age. He was the bringer of work and labor. And that was the time of Ogun. It was very masculine. It was forged with iron. But now we have that energy moving away, and now it's more the arts and music and poetry and love and romance and getting back to the garden and bringing back the bees and the honey. That new wave that's coming in is this new time of a new deity reigning, and that is the time of Oshun, which will reign for, I think, 2,000 years. Her energy began to emerge during the time of the Renaissance. We'll see an increase in the arts and music, poetry, etc. But she also comes with the sword of truth, which is Michael. I'm seeing an Ace of Cups here also over Magician, which is quite auspicious. Yeah, I can tell you that it has to do with the writing of a book and trying to. There's the Justice Department. Justice is over the High Priestess, which would tell me that she will be absolutely fine. But really, the reason this happened, what pushed him to this, had to do with that it was not going to end. It wasn't just the liability. It was the fact that after the liability, she may have gotten a contract to write a book about her life story, and that would include explicit details about the trial and the attack. And so because of future telling and future dealings, possibly a book deal, etc., he is attempting to gag her, and he's attempting to, this is a gag order. However, because there is the High Priestess, the truth coming out with justice, again, I would say that that's quite auspicious. And for that reason, I feel that she will be vindicated, and that if she is writing a book, the only thing that he's doing is encouraging people to buy it. All right. Stay strong, everyone. Continue to fight the good fight. If there's a defense fund, of course, we will all contribute to it, and maybe take a moment to write the Senate. Steer away from politics. Just don't even mention your political party. Just let them know you're deeply concerned about the weaponizing of the Justice Department, and that it will influence your vote. If something isn't done, it will influence your vote, and leave it at that. All right. I want to thank you all for watching this quick video of the Oracle of Whimsy. Thank you so much, everybody, for your love and support. Those of you who have subscribed, those of you who have become members and joined our group of fairies and angels, elders and empaths. I deeply appreciate you, and I know I speak for Chuck as well, that the amazing growth we've experienced over the last couple weeks as we move the channel more towards healing messages has touched us deeply, and we will continue to endeavor to give you good quality content that is ethical and uplifting, as long as we are blessed with being able to do this channel. All right, on that note, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.